How can you achieve and maintain business growth? Harvard Business School Executive Education is now accepting applications for a new program, Driving Profitable Growth. Taking place in Boston from October 25th through the 28th, this program focuses on business expansion and organizational growth strategies that can lead your company into the future. Learn more about this 3-day program for senior leaders by visiting hbs.me/growth. That's hbs.me/growth.
Blog Talk Radio.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to a Wednesday edition of Sin's Chat Corner. I am majorly excited about hosting Matthew Schultz today. He carries with him just an array of talents, and we're talking from actor to producer to musician to writer. I am majorly psyched about having this interview today. Just to let everybody know to plan ahead and plan accordingly for tomorrow, 1 o'clock Central Standard Time, we're going to be doing our interview with Crystal of Ski's Open Heart Foundation, and this is one that is near and dear to my heart along with many others. So, since we've got Matthew on the line, let's get started right away. Good afternoon, Matthew.
Hi, how are you? Thank you for having me on the show.
Oh, my God, I'm so excited that you're here. Thank you so much for taking the time for me. I really appreciate it. I have heard very good things about you, Matthew.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm out in New Jersey right now. I'm driving into Manhattan for a meeting and everything, so it's actually worked out perfect for me.
Oh, wonderful. I'm glad you had an opportunity to take the time to visit with us a little bit. Before we start, I just wanted to say that just in looking at your resume and trying to research you a little bit, I want to say that I'm completely overwhelmed and just in awe of all the various accomplishments you've done so far. Kudos to you. You're an amazing fellow. There's a lot about you I didn't know until I started to research you.
Oh, my God, thank you so much. You're making me blush now.
Oh, no, not at all, actually. If you don't mind, I kind of wanted to start off the interview by maybe examining your family's contribution to you as a performer. Now, I understand that you derived from a family of musicians, obviously with your dad serving as your role model. So maybe can you tell me, were any of those individuals instrumental in assisting you in becoming a better artist and a professional?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the whole reason that I fell in love with playing the guitar and singing and everything like that is that when we used to have our big family get-togethers, especially on my father's side, he had a lot of brothers, and everybody was a really good guitarist and singing and everything. So when I was at an early age of before 8, I used to watch them in awe, and I fell in love with the guitar, and I said, one day I have to be a part of the jam-out sessions that they do in the holidays. So that being said, at 8 years old, I got my first guitar, and I started playing by ear and self-taught myself, and, then I was able to start jamming out with my uncles and everything like that, and they just were a great influence on me. And my cousins on my mother's side also had a pretty big band in New Jersey during the early 90s, and I used to look up to them as well, and they used to do wonderful performances on stage, and, so it's kind of a blended, well-rounded family influence that I have, but, they definitely gave me my first love for music.
Oh, definitely. Now, I was curious to ask you, of course, because you had prefaced that your father being such a role model to you. Can you share with us some of the qualities with which you admired most about him?
Oh, wow. I mean, where do I start? He's just a wonderful person. I mean, he was the man that, worked so hard and provided for our family. My mother was a housewife. My father was, a narcotics agent for the Ocean County Prosecutor's Office. And, that being said, raising a family of my mom, my sister, myself, him, everything got a little tight, so we were living month to month, and, both my parents did anything that they could to make ends meet, which was great. And, I just look back and I noticed that the only thing that they really fought about were things that involved money. And, the love for each other where, 60% or more of the population would get divorced. They stuck it out and they stayed together, which was really great, that they did that because, a lot of people don't do that anymore, and stay in that old school mentality. So I'm so fortunate, but he was a hard worker. He stuck it out. He made ends meet, and he still was able to take me to all my soccer games and football games and baseball games, and he was the one that was first to volunteer to be a assistant coach for all those teams and everything, which is just amazing that he was able to do all that. And I just think that, you know, when I look back, I don't think I could have had a better role model or a better person, you know what I mean, that I could have done, you know, and had in my life, you know what I mean?
Oh, I imagine so. So he rubbed off on you, obviously, because he can clearly see that you get some of those gentlemanly qualities from your father. I can tell. Can I ask you, was there any good advice that your family had passed along to you relative to getting into the business?
I'm sorry, would you repeat that 1 second?
Oh, that's okay. I was curious to ask you if there was any good advice that your family passed along to you, obviously with them being musicians and the like. Did they give you any good advice as it related to the business before you got into it?
Just mostly family qualities and stuff like that. You know, just more of being a gentleman and putting family first. And we were definitely not a family that went to church every Sunday, but we all have faith, and we were brought up in a Catholic type of atmosphere, which was great. And for us, the advice that they gave wasn't so much on the business end, because none of my family made a living playing music. They all did it in love for the love of the hobby and everything. So they just basically told me to be well-rounded, do everything that I do to the best of my ability, and then anything that I put my mind to and that my heart's involved with, that I feel passionate about, I'll turn out to be something that's good to the world.
Gotcha. That's wonderful, of course. Now, to those that don't know, obviously, one of your earliest musical endeavors came along the lines of your friendship with American Idol winner Chris Daughtry, of course. Now, ironically, I found this strange just because I'm from Wisconsin. Your second collaboration was with the Dave Matthews Band, of course, which originates from Wisconsin. Now, how did your playing with Daughtry help to facilitate furthering your career? Or, just maybe explain to me the entire experience with collaborating with Chris Daughtry.
Oh, yeah, well, that was just amazing. I still look back, and sometimes I get goosebumps thinking about it. But, he was just, a great person, and, he was into comic books and theater and everything like that. And we were actually looking for, a lead singer to fit our style of music back then. And I think I was in about the 9th grade when it all, started, and I started this actual band. And we used to practice out of my garage and everything. And one day my friend Robert Nesbitt, who was my best friend and spent a lot of time, with me, practicing music and playing and writing songs, we brought Chris in because we knew he had a wonderful voice. And we basically sat there and watched him, strum his first chords and, see something like that go from writing and playing songs in my garage in my bedroom to, filling out arenas and selling out concerts and being a multi-platinum artist, basically gives me the inspiration and gives me firsthand knowledge and sight to know that it can be done. You know what I mean? And to see somebody take it from that all the way to where they are now, and me being able to sit and watch them, transform into that, It was only when, basically I moved to New Jersey, he moved to North Carolina, that we kind of, parted ways and everything. But then to turn on the TV and see him on American Idol and do so well was just, it was a thrill to me, and I was so proud. And, we still stay in touch today and text each other back and forth. And, we always try to get together whenever he's touring in the New York area, but it's just so hard because he's so busy and I'm busy. But, he supports my efforts, and, I think that was just huge for me because, one, it allowed me to see that it is possible, and the dreams do come true. And two, because of the things that we did, during that time and the type of music and style of music, it also gave me, those qualities that I still bring into my music today.
Oh, certainly. I was just wondering to myself, did you have any inclination at that time, the success that he was going to ultimately achieve? Could you kind of see the writing on the wall there way back?
Well, you know what? He just had an unbelievable voice. He just had this raw talent, and he just was able to hit those low notes and just really was able to do like things that weren't of the ordinary just singer. You know what I mean? In a drama class. Sure. So, I always deep down thought that, of course, if he puts his heart into it and he puts his whole mind into it and he uses this as his primary focus, he's going to, just explode. But, nobody thought, back then, any of us would ever be able to make it into those kinds of stages, and he just surpassed all odds and just did it.
Exactly. Now, talk to me a little bit. I know, obviously, we mentioned the Dave Matthews Band. Now, was your eventual playing with Dave Matthews Band a result of knowing Daughtry, or how did that come about? How did you become affiliated with Dave Matthews?
It was kind of a separate thing. I just, once we finished up and Chris moved away and, basically started, another band and went to North Carolina and everything. I stayed in Charlottesville, New Jersey. Charlottesville, Virginia, I'm sorry. And that's the home of the Dave Matthews Band. And I used to watch them perform on stage at, Trax nightclub and all the places that I used to actually work and bartend and do security at. So I used to watch them. And same kind of thing, seeing them take it from a stage, playing at a local bar and a local nightclub to the same kind of thing, selling one of the top records in the industry, Under the Table and Dreaming. And to see that, it was also an inspiration for me. And I was able to start performing when Peter Greiser, which was one of the original members of the Dave Matthews Band and also co-writer of some of their bigger selling albums, he broke off from the Dave Matthews Band and started a band called Supertanker, and which they would play at a lot of local spots and everything, and I used to get up there and perform with them. So it was just a great thing, but the two were totally separate, and it was just two totally great experiences, but different.
Okay, gotcha. I want to touch base a little bit about this because I know that you're extremely proficient, and I know it's a barrage of different instruments that you're proficient on. Can you maybe just let us know, outside of obviously just straight playing, what do you all play? And was this a result of the education you got at Montclair or otherwise?
No, believe it or not, my primary focus in all education, I never took a music class. I never, had any lessons for playing any instruments. I did everything by ear. When I was at school, my primary focus was on business and finance, and, I double majored in psychology and played college football and everything. So my music was just basically coming from, my heart, my ear, and from what I, basically self-taught myself. So I never had any formal training on any of the instruments. And whereas I have a vision and I have a huge influence on the production of my tracks and everything like that, and also play guitar, I'm mostly efficient on guitar and vocals. But I never had lessons and never went to school for music or acting.
Yeah, and that's amazing, too. I have a good friend of mine who is in the same situation. I am so dumbfounded by the fact that you can be so able-bodied and so talented without having that musical training. It's really amazing. Now, I'm guessing it must be beneficial for your musical growth in that you are a hands-on CEO of these records. I want to talk a little bit about that. Can you define more specifically what sort of product this label delivers, as well as what served to be your motivation to lead this entity?
Well, you know what? It was basically I started Unrated Records back in 2006, and it was more for just a small independent label where I would actually work with artists, help groom them, help provide them with studio time, and then basically help them get to the next level. It was never supposed to be like a distribution label or anything. It was almost like a stepping stone where they would sign to my label for a very small 360 type contract, and then I could bring them to all the majors that I have a lot of connections in, Universal Republic, Jive and Zomba Records, Sony, and Warner Brothers. So throughout the industry, I would be able to take these artists, help get them to a certain level, and then also shop them and bring them and showcase them to major record labels in hopes of trying to get them a deal. And, I had the ability to work with some really good, up-and-coming artists that, I think will definitely make an impact on the industry. But I kind of took a back seat on the record label because, the time that I was spending with, being vice president of business development for major banks and doing, all that as well as, trying to focus on my own thing. I was doing a disservice to artists, so I basically just shelved the record label, and I still help talent find its way to the majors, and I sit and help consult with different independent artists and everything like that to help them grow and teach them what I've learned along the way.
Gotcha. And how amazing is that too? And I imagine so with your schedule being as it is now, it's not necessarily conducive to having your hand in 50 different things anymore, is it? It must be challenging.
No, it's really not, and this is what, artists, that do make it, they have all the support from, major labels, and, they have people helping them out with their marketing, helping them out with, studio time and production and all that kind of stuff. So it's good for me because, I'm learning by experience of what works, what doesn't work, and, basically the ins and outs of the entire music industry from the front end perspective, which is, basically making the music and being the artist, and also the back end and basically covering all the different things that a label would do for you. So it's great for me because I would never trade this experience that I've gotten for anything, but at the same token, it's very hard and time-consuming, and there's a lot of nights that I finish up at the bank at 6, 7 at night, and then I go to the studio till 3, 4 in the morning, or, work on marketing my music, until, all hours of the night, and get up and do it all over again. So the passion keeps me going, but, it definitely gets a little bit crazy.
I understand. I do. So prepare yourself for the next 15 minutes. I'm going to keep you blushing, so I hope you can handle this because we're going to talk all about how fabulous you are. Starting from this. Now, from what I hear, you are best described as being a James Dean meets Johnny Cash type guy who gives off this Hollywood swagger. So I got to ask you, do you concur with that?
Oh, wow. Well, anytime I hear my name with those names, I really get shy. I just can't believe that I'm even, being compared to any of these types of artists that I've looked up to that are my heroes. And, I think that they say James Dean just because, I think I have that old school classical look with, of what, back in the 40s and 50s and during that James Dean, Frank Sinatra and, kind of era was. And I think from the Johnny Cash perspective is that, my voice is very low and monotone, and, it's kind of like a more of a new age Johnny Cash style, I guess you could categorize it at. But, I mean, those are really, really big names to be, paralleled with. So, I mean, I'm just fortunate and blessed that people, outside of my mother think that of me,
Well, right. And the host is just going to go out on a limb to say, let's face it, let's just get real and call a spade a spade. You're just devilishly handsome. I mean, it goes without saying. I mean, you're talented and you're handsome, simple as that. And I'm going to go with the James Dean thing myself personally. I think they got it head on. I was curious to ask you, was Johnny Cash one of your inspirations? And, I mean, were you always preferential to doing this kind of music or this style of music, or how did that come about?
No, it's strange. It's like, I love all music. All those classical, classic artists, from all different eras. I mean, the Elvis Presleys and the Johnny Cashes and the Frank Sinatras. I mean, they were just wonderful. I grew up listening to them and loving them. I still listen to them in my car now, so they definitely have an influence. But, when I was growing up in high school and everything, I loved hip-hop. It was kind of like, during that phase where, like, the 90s where hip-hop and R&B just kind of broke free, and it was just everywhere, and it was, like, the new thing, and I loved it. So I loved hip-hop, but yet I was always playing kind of rock-type music. And, now I guess they have a tough time putting me in any particular genre because, my music has hip-hop drive and hip-hop grooves, as far as the beats and the rhythms, and it's got, a rock style. There's trademark guitars in every one of my songs, which is great. And, I'm an 80s baby. I had, a childhood in the 80s, so I love the 80s sounds. You see some of that in my music, the 90s and the hip-hop, and what's now is current. That's in my, music as well. So it's just a well-rounded love for all music, and I'm glad that my music portrays, a bunch of different genres and a bunch of different eras because, I wouldn't have it any other way. You know what I mean? I love music, and, you know, hopefully, you know, that love and the love for all music comes out somewhere in my music. And I love the sounds of the 70s, 80s, 90s, and today. So to be able to incorporate that somewhat in there, just it's definitely exciting.
Oh, sure. And, of course, obviously, it's a testament to you, clearly, in terms of what you're trying to accomplish with your music. Because I'm going to take a moment now to just recognize some of the most recent accolades you've had. Now, as it relates to Reverb Nation, I know you were ranked #1 in the Northeast as singer-songwriter, #4 in the United States, and #6 worldwide. And I know that PBS Entertainment has named you its hottest new artist. Now, can I ask you, to what might you attribute as being the main factor for such honors?
Oh, wow. So, you know, I just actually recently, this week, I actually moved up to #1 in the U.S. and #2 on the global Reverb Nation charts. Yeah, and
God, you're ahead of me.
that's for, that's for singer-songwriter, and then I think I am number 15 in the world amongst every music genre, which is really cool to me. And, yeah, PBS Entertainment, you know, went through, you know, all my material and, you know, took a blend of a bunch of different things that I had going for me, and they named me the hottest artist of 2013 for new up-and-coming artists, and actually put me on the cover and basically put my story in the #1 selling music industry book. So I'm being published. It should be sometime out in March. So I'm super excited about that. But, you know, I'm thankful that there are things like Reverb Nation that are out there that, you know, basically give a platform to an independent artist to give them a bunch of different tools, whether it be, you know, the ability to capture email addresses for fans, you know, basically tracking your press releases, giving yourself, you know, the ability to have websites and market your music, and having one concrete place that people can go and stream your music or download your music, and, you know, basically make widgets and different things that you can actually put on your social media pages to help you promote, and basically giving you the ability to reach, you know, everyone globally, you know. So it's not just, you know, I'm going, you know, local where I'm trying to reach out for, you know, my area code and everything in the New York, New Jersey area, but, you know, I can actually get to, you know, the UK, I can get to Canada and Africa and China, which is just tremendous. So when you do well on those charts, because they count and factor so many different things, it's like algorithms, whether it be, you know, the amount of fans that you have, how many times a day your music is played on the page, how many times it's played outside of the page, where the traffic is derived from, you know, how many people open your email when you do an email blast. I mean, there's so many different ways and measures for them to track the charting. It's not just, okay, this many people listen to it and that's where you're going to rank. So to be able to be in those top charts and, you know, even in the top 100 or anything is a huge accomplishment, because, I mean, Reverb Nation boasts, I think, you know, over 2 million artists and over 4 million artists and fans. So to be on a platform like that and actually perform well and do well is just a huge accomplishment for me, because I know how hard it is to get it to that level, you know, and to do well on those things. It's very competitive. So it's just a great indicator of kind of where you are, you know, in your music career from an independent level, you know, and it does give you a lot of tools. So I'm very thankful for all that. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's just great and refreshing to know that, you know, there are people out there that can relate to my music, that dig my music, and, you know, and it's just really cool. You know, it's kind of a surreal feeling.
Well, I imagine so, and congratulations on that, of course. That's amazing. I wanted to have a discussion, of course, on your music, certainly. I know the 2 songs, So Beautiful, and, of course, Money or Me, in which you find yourself being partnered with music legend Jim Jones. First off, who was responsible for that pairing?
Oh, well, the Jim Jones thing was just something that was great. I actually helped Jim out with a video called Dancing on Me with DJ Webstar and Joel Santana, and it's wonderful video. I think it went, you know, #1, you know, almost the entire summer when it came out. And they actually put me in the video as well as a token of thanks, but I helped them secure the actual location for the shoot, and, you know, a lot of the people that were in the video, and just helped them with the overall production and getting it actually released out there. along with Toaster and the Tub Entertainment and Nassau Entertainment. And, you know, I did them a lot of favors, and when I ended up doing this track, Money or Me, it had such a cool drive, and I did a version that's a solo version. I did a hip-hop version with a hip-hop artist, very talented, King Dave from Long Island, and, you know, it had a great feel, and I was getting a lot of positive feedback and everything. So I reached out to Jim, and I shot him an email and said, hey, you know, would you check this track out? And, you know, he wrote back, you know, he's like, wow, he's like, this track is different. He's like, it's so dope. And I said, well, you know, would you like to do a feature on it? And he said absolutely. And, you know, within a week, he wrote and recorded the first verse for it. And, you know, now he actually has agreed to do a whole second verse in the song as well. So that should be out any week now. And it's just he's, you know, somebody I look up to. He's somebody that I listen to when I am driving in the car and when I'm lifting weights and working out and everything. So for me, I mean, that's just amazing to be able to be paired up with people that you idolize, you know.
Oh, of course, certainly. Maybe can you share with us a little bit, what was the inspiration, because I know you had written the song Money or Me, what was the driving inspiration behind the creation of that song?
Money or Me really hits home because, you know, I told you that, you know, when I was growing up, it seemed like the only fights that my parents ever had were about money. It was never about love. It was never about anything. And it kind of gave me, not a complex, but it put things in perspective to me to say, hey, I really want to do well. I want to do well for myself. I want to be able to take care of my family, be able to provide, not live month to month and everything. But it also gave me the way that I looked at relationships. You know, once you hit a certain age, and you could be a man or a woman, it's just basically meaning that, you know, when you hit a certain age, whether it be 24, 25, 26, 27, when you start getting into your career and you start, you know, establishing a certain level of success, it becomes very hard to pinpoint and realize true love. You never know if that guy or girl are falling for you because of you or for your situation. So when I say money or me, it doesn't really mean money meaning cash or you know, monetary thing. It could be, you know, an overall situation. It's a concept. So, you know, and I know that men go through this, women go through this, people that are successful go through this, that when you do hit a certain age, you just kind of never know what that person is really there for, you know, for you or for your money or your situation. And that's why I wrote the song Money or Me. And, you know, and I think a lot of people can relate from a lot of feedback that I got on the song. And, you know, it kind of it hits home a little bit for me. And you kind of, I guess, you lose that true love experience once you know, get out of that high school and college time, you know, when you're both kind of on even keel, where you're both kind of finding yourself, you know, and not established yet.
Oh, no, totally, I understand that. And I want to throw this out to people because they probably don't know this, but I just found out your EP is going to be part of the gift bags for the Grammys and the Oscars and the MTV Music Awards. How very cool is that?
Oh, my God, that's the most exciting thing, and it's just incredible. And I'm so fortunate, you know, to be able to put, you know, a CD that I just finished, an EP, brand new, nobody has it yet. And the first place that, you know, the CDs were shipped off to was, you know, out to Hollywood, California to be prepped for the Grammy Awards and the Oscar Awards and the MTV Music Awards gift bags. I mean, you know, to just think that, you know, any of those people that are nominated for the most prestigious awards in the entertainment industry are going to get to, you know, look at my CD and open it, hopefully, and listen to it and, you know, and check it out. I mean, I think that's just, it's just so great, you know. And it was great for me, too, because it kind of pressured me a little bit, and it was a time crunch to get the CD done in time, which I'm so thankful to now that it's over. But, you know, it really got me off my you know, everyday routine to try to get this thing done. And I had so much cooperation and so much help from my producer, Armando Granera, who I, you know, hold in the highest regard. And he's just really, you know, made my music come to life and made the sounds that I wanted, you know, come to in my songs. And he's just been great, him and his whole family and his talented daughter, Alessia Granera, who, you know, is young, and I think she's the Janis Joplin of her time, and she's going to really, you know, hit the scene and explode in the music industry, I believe. But to be part of that was great, and, you know, I was so blessed to have Peter Dole from Universal Music Studios out in Hollywood, California, to master my EP, and he's mastered, albums for, Red Hot Chili Peppers and Marilyn Manson and Elton John and Celine Dion and Lady Gaga, and the list goes on. I mean, to be able to have him do it, I feel just so fortunate as well,
No, sure, I totally understand what you're saying. And again, kudos to you, because that's just amazing. Like you're saying, your first audience is going to be people of that magnitude. So undoubtedly that'll more or less secure more of your success somewhere down the line, we would hope anyways. I have one final question for you. Maybe you can kind of tell the people that are listening in or fans, what can they expect in the next year? What do you have coming up? Where can we find you? Help me out here a little bit. Where can we find you?
Well, first of all, I think that my most active accounts, I use Facebook a lot, so if you just look up my full name, Matthew, M-A-T-T-H-E-W, last name Schultz, S-C-H-U-L-T-Z, you can find my fan page and request me as a friend if you want, but definitely like my fan page because I give all my updates and everything on that. My Twitter page is very active. I have over, almost 600,000 Twitter followers and fans, so I'm very active on Twitter, and that's my last name. My first initial, M is in Matthew. My last name, Schultz, S-C-H-U-L-T-Z, and my favorite number, 33. So it's M Schultz at M Schultz 33 is my Twitter name. So definitely look up and follow me, and I'll follow you guys back. And that's it. Just you can find me online. You can contact me through Reverb Nation. All my email addresses and everything are on all my accounts. And love to stay in touch with everybody.
I was just going to say, and as far as in terms of your music, how can people get to that? Because I know you're going to be dropping something in the very near future, right?
Absolutely. Well, first off, the Kendrick Lamar mixtape, That Money or Me, the original version with King Dave got picked up for, is out right now. You can go online to Coast Mixtapes, Volume 224, and you can download that, I believe, for free. And that's got Kendrick Lamar on it, T.I., Andre 3000, ASAP Rocky, J. Cole, unbelievable talent on that CD. So I'm on there, so you could definitely download that. I also got picked up for the Mac Miller up-and-coming Coast to Coast mixtape, which will be out in the next 2 weeks. So you could also get Money or Me on there. Reverb Nation, if you go to Matthew Schultz Official, you can find my Reverb Nation page. You can listen to all my stuff. For 2013, I got a big year coming out. I have a new feature on a song, Agent Man, that I'm doing with Tricky Graham that we just finalized. And he just went gold, and he has that single, Snapback and Tattoos. So I'm excited to work with him. I'm releasing a track called Right Heart, Wrong Time with Christoph Sintrong, which is one of the original members of the touring Gypsy Kings, which is one of the bands that I idolized when I was growing up. So I have a really cool Spanish-type house track coming out with him that I'm very excited to release. And just looking to release my EP and get my music out there and continue to do interviews and, do a lot of different stuff online to stay in touch with everybody. So I'm very excited about what this year has to bring.
Oh, definitely. And, of course, I know, obviously, that your time is relatively limited, so I must ask you in the near future or when you get some time and you don't get too big on me, you can come on back because we have a whole other side of the fence here. I know we haven't talked about your acting career and the other things that you've done in your life, and I'd be more than happy to have you come back at any time we can chat about it.
I will come back anytime you ask. Thank you so much for having me.
Not a problem, Matthew. It's been a pleasure to have you, certainly, and I will post up all this information about Matthew on my show page as well as on Facebook, in addition to all my other social mediums, and we'll get it out there, and I'll try to get it up on YouTube for you along with some of your music as well. And like I said, you have an open invitation to come back anytime you like. I think you're just a doll, Matthew, and I wish you lots of success.
Likewise. Thank you so much.
All right, dear. You take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right, folks. That was the absolutely amazing, fabulous Matthew Schultz. Again, just to reiterate, he has a Facebook page, both as a personal friend page, and in addition to which, he also has a actual fan page. So you can go ahead and look up Matthew, and the last name is S-C-H-U-L-T-Z. To reiterate, he is on Twitter, which is at MSCHULTZ33. He is also on MySpace. His music can be heard on both YouTube and Reverb Nation. I did not want to forget to take a moment to say so much. Thank you so much to Michelle McGee, who is one of my absolute favorite publicists out there. So, Michelle, thank you so very much for taking the time and the trouble and the effort, as always, to have one of your clients on the show. There's a couple things that I wanted to mention to the listening audience before I forget. First of which is, if you have some time and you're available tomorrow, my next interview is at 1 o'clock Central Standard Time, and that will be with Crystal. And Crystal is with Steve's Open Heart Foundation. You can go to my Facebook page or also on my Facebook page and my show page to look up information relative to her foundation. 1 o'clock Central Standard Time tomorrow. Go ahead and also make a note of this. I am still taking suggestions and volunteers as it relates to my documentary. So, again, my direct email is cin4251@gmail.com. I can be reached on Twitter at SANDB111. I also have a Facebook presence as well as on linked profile, and in addition to which you can do on my show page either for Blog Talk Radio or else on Facebook, before I forget about that. Certainly if you guys are out and about and you're in the Milwaukee area, I would wholeheartedly suggest, as I always do, and you're probably sick and tired of listening to me talk about my best friend and my sister, Annie B., www.anniebmusic.com. Information relative to her events, relative to where she's going to be out and about. Feel free to approach her. She has a Facebook page as well, in addition to her website. The last thing that I want to do before I forget about it is to remind all of you to go check out our sponsor page, which is Labrie Pure and Natural. Her actual website being www.NicoleAnn, which is all one word, NicoleAnn.Labrie.com. And again, just to reiterate, that's Labrie Pure and Natural, which is all natural products. Nicole is a very good friend of mine. If you wish to check out her products or actually to book a party, she can be reached directly at 414-852-3515. She's got a deal going on where you pay the small fee of $6.95 for shipping, and you can get your first free 7-day starter kit. And basically what that does is it gets you the most natural skincare products at an extremely affordable price. So feel free to contact Nicole at any given point in time for any of your needs as it relates to that. I want to say thank you again to everybody that took the time to listen. Tell all your friends. I appreciate all your support. Again, 1 o'clock Central Standard Time tomorrow. Crystal, Steve's Open Heart Foundation. You guys have a lovely evening.
What you doing? Ran out of space on my phone, so I'm deleting some stuff. Bye, singing dog. Bye, goal.
I pronounce you.
Bye, wedding ceremony.
Stop. At Metro PCS, you get 2 free phones with twice as much memory.
Really? Don't say bye to your memories. Switch to Metro PCS and get 2 free LG K20 Plus phones with 32 gigs when you switch 2 lines. Metro PCS. Wireless. Figured out. Coverage not available in some areas. Sales tax not included in phone price. Excludes numbers on the T-Mobile network. See store for details and terms and conditions.
What you doing?
Ran out of space on my phone, so I'm deleting some stuff. Bye, singing dog. Bye, goal.
I pronounce you.
Bye, wedding ceremony.
Stop. At Metro PCS, you get 2 free phones with twice as much memory.
Really? Don't say bye to your memories. Switch to Metro PCS and get 2 free LG K20 Plus phones with 32 gigs when you switch 2 lines. Metro PCS. Wireless. Figured out. Coverage not available in some areas. Sales tax not included in phone price. Excludes numbers on the T-Mobile network. See store for details and terms and conditions.